There's a place I'll always cherish neath the blue Atlantic skies, where the shores down in Cape Breton bids the golden sun to rise, and the fragrance of the apple blossoms praise the dew-kissed lawn, back in dear old Nova Scotia, a place where I was born.
Well, welcome back to All Outdoors Nova Scotia. I'm your host, Robert. Right here. I'm not outdoors today. I'm in the kitchen, actually. A friend of mine from work was curious how I made my beer kits, so I thought I'd do a little video. I may post this, I may not. I'm not sure yet. So for now, I've got half of a 2-liter bottle or 4-liter bottle of spring water in a pot. I've got to warm it up. That is my first step. I'm going to warm it slowly while I open the can to the beer kit. I am doing a Morgan's Ale this time, not the red that I normally do, but I'm trying to find a new flavor that I like equally as well. I will post a picture of the can before I took the label off. I take the label off to keep the label from falling into the beer mix while I'm brewing it. I've got to get this can open. Pretty simple. Everybody knows how to open a can. That goes in the pot with the water. Try to get every little bit, so I'm just rinsing off the lid. And before you ask, yes, I have washed my hands several times. So the can goes, I've warmed it to make it come out a little easier. Just so you know, it does help running it under warm water for a few minutes, or even putting it in a separate pot just to warm it up. It helps bring it out of the can a little easier. I don't know if everybody can see that, but put some light on here. Be right back. Forgot my spoon. Try to get as much out of the can as you possibly can. Because this is your wort. The beer kits, they make the wort already for you. That's the advantage to these. They do a lot of the work for you. You don't have to do all that brewing, and I'm a tad lazy, and I don't mind the flavor of the kits. They come out quite well. I know I said, you know, the other kits, but it's just personal taste. I like the taste of them. It's just not my type of beer. They come out well, but I'm looking for a certain style of flavor that I like, and I'm hoping this Morgan's ale is the one. I know I really, like I said, really enjoy the Morgan's Red. And I have been sticking with Cooper's. Not to say anything bad about Cooper's, but they just don't seem to have a flavor that I'm really stuck on yet. Now, I am adding my sugar in the forms of a brewer's syrup. It's much easier. Hopefully I have enough room in this pot. I also warm this up slightly. Being in a plastic bottle, it's a little harder, but I did warm it up somewhat to help get the sugar out. It's a bit messy if you're not careful, but it's well worth it. In Canada, a case of beer, a 12-pack of beer cost us $25 and change, almost $26. And I can buy this kit, the sugar and the can and the caps to bottle it for $26, and it makes me 5 dozen beer. So it's well worth every penny of doing it yourself and the weight. Now I'm going to let that warm up a little bit. Look at that. Making a mess already. We don't want this boiling. We just want it slightly warm. The idea is to bring your overall temperature after you add your water to your bucket, and this to, I believe on the Morgans it's right around 22 to 27 degrees to pitch your yeast for the best possible chance that the yeast will take off and ferment the beer correctly. But I am going to have to move the camera now because I'm going to move into the dining room to put this in the bucket. So I will bring you back when I'm ready to do that. Hey guys, welcome back. As you can see, I poured the mixture into the bucket. Now the idea is to fill the bucket to 23 liters. Just 1 second here. As you can see, it's measured off. So I will bring it up to the 23 liter mark with cold bottled water. I've got my lovely other half stirring for me while I pour this in. Now these jugs are 10 liters. I refilled them myself at a local store. So it might be slightly over 10 liters. So I'll have to pour this one in and check it, and then pour the other one slowly to make sure that I don't go over. But I shouldn't, because at the most I think they hold 11 liters total. On to jug number 2. You can go over slightly if it does come up to the 25 liter mark. It's not a big deal. It just may make your beer a little bit weaker in the alcohol content. So if you're worried about that, then by all means don't go over. I know it's about flavor for me more than it is getting, too tipsy from it. So I don't mind if I go over a little bit. That is my 23 liters with the part of the bucket, the bottle that I put in earlier with the kit. I am close enough to my 23 liters right there so that I can call it close enough. I'm just giving it a good stir to make sure that the kit works through the water that I just put in. Now I'm not going to, well, I am. I'm going to take a measurement of the temperature just to make sure. 1 second. Grab my handy dandy thermometer. Well, it looks like we're at 29. That's only 2 over the max. I'm not going to get fussy with it. Oh, we're down to 28, so it is cooling off slightly. 1 more degree and we're good. But I think I can pitch my yeast now anyway, and we still should be fine. Yeah, so that's pretty simple, straightforward. You give it a good mix. Yeast comes in a packet like this on top of your can, under the cover. You just open it up with a pair of scissors like so. Then you give this a good stir. Stop stirring and sprinkle the yeast on top. Cover lightly, so that the air can get to it, because yeast needs air to breathe. And with air, it will start to germ and produce the alcohol that you require. Now it sits in this bucket for a week. For me, that's how I do it. Then I transfer it to my other bucket with the tap, and I leave it for another week. Both times I remove sediment out of the bottom of each bucket so that by the time I'm ready to bottle in 2 weeks, it's pretty much crystal clear. Once it's bottled, I leave it set another 2 weeks minimum, or try to. Sometimes I'm a little over anxious and get into it after the first week. It says you only need a week, but I like the longer you leave it, the more head you get, the better taste quality you get. So I tend to try and leave it to 2 weeks. So I recommend myself try the 2 weeks. If you like it, the longer you leave it, the better it can only get better. Thanks for watching.
There's a place I'll always cherish neath the blue Atlantic skies, where the shores down in Cape Breton bids the golden sun to rise, and the fragrance of the apple blossoms praise the dew-kissed lawn, back in dear old Nova Scotia, a place where I